and welcome to Chris's Chaos. I am your host, Chris Cortez, and tonight we are covering All Elite Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling's combined efforts, their combined interpromotional event known only as Forbidden Door 2024. This event was held in New York, Long Island. I guess it was the UBS Arena, Belmont Park in Elmont, New York. That's basically on Long Island. So we're in MJF country, okay? We're also in Daniel Garcia's country, although he did not really perform tonight. MJF sure did. So yeah, this was a good event that was not, it was not like an A+ effort. It was not like must-see pay-per-view, to be honest with you. It was good. It was good. It had a couple matches that I was very happy with that I had to see. There were some key matches here that we're going to go over that I really want to focus in on. And they're the type of matches that, yes, if you have time, go back and check out. I highly recommend it. But really, for me, this is a big win. Pay-per-view, if you haven't figured it out, I got my LIJ gear on. It was all about Naito winning that IWGP title. Now, yes, my primary focus is New Japan Pro Wrestling. Some people, of course, on the Western side of the world are not going to agree. They really don't care. And that's fine. That's fine. You're focusing on that. I need to focus on this. There's a reason why it was important that Naito wins and kind of keeps things, unless Moxley was planning on, participating in G1 Climax, which I didn't see him he's not in the G1. So really, usually the champion would participate in G1, and he didn't. So Naito is, and he will be, kind of representing the company a lot more as we lead into through G1 Climax and into Wrestle Kingdom. So it was pretty obvious to me that what needed to happen happened, and that was kind of the highlight of my viewing experience. I know that wasn't the highlight, and here's why. One, I honestly, I was a little kind of annoyed with the commentary. They brought in JR to kind of signify that this would be an important match alongside the main event. The whole time they're kind of like joking around. They've hyped up Naito. They're saying how great he is, and of course how strong Mox has become. But there were I felt like there was a lot of joking around. It was kind of a lighthearted moment when Naito finally won. And I feel like what they were trying to do was to downplay the fact that, yes, this guy from Japan just came in and beat one of our boys and took their title back. But yeah, they can't win them all. You know what I mean? We can't win them all. The United States cannot beat, an AEW rather, cannot beat New Japan at everything. There were very few matches where New Japan actually came up on top, and we'll talk about those matches. The other big takeaway match, I would have to say, obviously, is the main event for the AEW Championship, Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. This match had the energy. It had the commentating team on point, and it was all business and all seriousness when this match was going on. It ended the way it needed to end. It did what it needed to do. I'm very curious as to how they're going to take it to Wimbledon and into All In, but it's just one step at a time right now. I am very interested in All In and would love to make it there, but we'll see. It's coming around the corner. It's sooner than we think. But I've been really paying attention to New Japan's content, like New Japan Soul, the Soul series, and I'm going to be covering G1 Climax as we get in. That should be starting July 20th, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll be keeping an eye out for Money in the Bank for WWE side of things, and of course, All In for AEW. But this is my type of pay-per-view, as it is cross-promotional, New Japan, AEW. I know what's going on for the most part with New Japan, and keep tabs on AEW. And it was just, I feel like it's definitely a little bit of a highlight. They should have, if anything, covered a little bit of a preview of things to come for G1. There should have been a promotion for G1 Climax and let everybody know who's performing. For instance, Tenosuke Takeshita, he's in G1. Why didn't they mention that? I have no idea. He's going to be performing in New Japan's most prestigious tournament. And he's a great addition. Eddie Kingston last year performed in the G1 and he did a good job. I think Takeshita might even fare better, could very well fare better than Eddie Kingston. But let's talk about this show, because there were, in addition to those last two, the double main event, I would have to say I was very impressed with the Zack Sabre Orange Cassidy match for the most part. It was pretty cool. It's a Zack Sabre match. It's the type of match that I enjoy watching Zack Sabre perform. He knows how to dissect and tear apart his opponents and leaves them kind of in a pretty much twisted up like a pretzel. And that's kind of what happened to Orange Cassidy. It was a good match, but we'll talk about that. And then I would have to say, for me at least, the Samoa Joe, Katsuyori, Shibata, and Hook versus Jericho, Big Bill, and Jeff Cobb was a great match. I loved Jeff Cobb. Shibata looking good. Hook, really, the story is about Hook. We're going to get into it in more detail. But Hook did as well as he could. I think Jericho did as great as he could, putting Hook over. I thought the women's match between Mercedes Moné and Stephanie Vaquer was pretty decent. I really, need to stress this enough after watching this pay-per-view. People need to slow down on the headbutts. A lot of headbutts, especially when they're not even looking like they're connecting at all. They're just headbutting air. It's pretty bad. So fix that. Maybe tone that down. But yeah, I will go ahead and start up from the top, and we'll start with MJF and I can't even pronounce his name. Hechicero. He was good. He's cool. This is now becoming more than just a cross-promotional pay-per-view, as they have CMLL. And I would like to see next year's next year's pay-per-view, consider perhaps including other promotions like, say, TNA, Impact. But you got to remember, this isn't just an AEW promotional event. It is a New Japan event. It takes place under their umbrella as well, and they promote it on New Japan World. So for them to take that away from New Japan and just kind of give it to Impact the following year and switch it up would be to cost New Japan some money. So it would be cool, though, to get maybe some sort of alliances set where you have maybe TNA and where you have Impact, for instance, side with one of the major companies like AEW or New Japan. Ring of Honor could always play a part. CMLL. Of course, you still have Pro Wrestling Noah, and several other promotions in the UK and around the world. The big one, though, obviously, would be if WWE came in and had a little, event with AEW. It's not that far behind. It's not that out of the impossible. It's not really in the realm of impossibility, because now that Triple H and you got guys like The Rock, you got all kinds of people now joining in that are they're way past the conservative sort of traditional way of looking at how to promote events for your promotion. So that being said, we could take this a number of different ways next year, but as far as the show itself, it is a little stagnant. It wasn't like it was. It doesn't feel as great and as interesting, as novel as it was when it started. I would, like to get back to the days when somebody mentioned the Forbidden Door. It was just that forbidden. It was kind of like an awe moment. It's not exactly forbidden anymore if they're doing it annually, on the mark. So yeah, but it was still a fun pay-per-view, a good pay-per-view. It had its moments, and it is pushing towards two major events, one being All In, and the other being the actual G1 Climax tournament. So let's jump right in. With the first match, MJF versus Hechicero. I thought they had said, Penta El Cero when I first heard the announcer, and I looked up. I'm like, that's not Penta. But yes, MJF, we start off with, a couple it's standard. One thing I noticed was that MJF tried a few moves of his things that it's like signature moves now of MJF. The handshake, the fake handshake, sportsmanship. He does his struts like Ric Flair, poses like Ravishing Rick Rude. He does an eye poke. He even at one point posed and did that spin with the finger point like he was Macho Man Randy Savage. It's great. It's a love letter to all the legends. The 80s legends, and that's kind of what he is, really, is a love letter to your legendary wrestlers. For me, you get a guy like this every now and then, and it's hard to pinpoint because he's your standard atypical style of a wrestler. But when it's just right, you have a guy who can kind of claim that sort of gimmick. He did it. Before him, I would say Shane Douglas, the franchise, was the guy to kind of take on that role, that persona of, okay, now here's all your hardcore wrestlers, here's all your wild high flyers. I'm the atypical, traditional, legendary type of wrestler. So that's MJF. And there's quite a bit of brawling at one point. Hechicero tosses MJF off the ring, leads to MJF whipping his opponent into the guardrail multiple times. We see a lot of different things going on, but mostly just textbook wrestling. This is a 10-minute match, and it ends with MJF delivering a Long Island Sunrise on Hechicero. He then delivers this brain buster that looked good. I was not expecting that to be it, but clean pin, 1, 2, 3, and that was that. I was just kind of settling into the pay-per-view. This was not on my priority at all, so I just wanted to watch it and enjoy, and it was decent, but it wasn't like anything special. I don't really like what's going on with MJF, to be quite honest with you right now, and it's sad because there must be reasons why they haven't just thrusted him back in with a feud with the Undisputed Kingdom. Okay, they're the ones that costed him his title. Why the hell isn't he just going back into it? And I get it. There might be one reason or another, but we do need to see some more direction with MJF. And, he's still the same MJF, but it's hard to like him when you try to make him more and more and more of a baby face. Tone that down a little bit too. Obviously he's a face. He's loved. He's not going to change, but maybe if you get him in a serious storyline, he might actually turn it up a notch and act a little more vicious and be the MJF of old, but he'll have our backs because what he's doing is justified. That's all it is. So other than that, not much to write home about. Second match, Acclaimed and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kazuchika Okada and the Young Bucks. This was decent. Nothing to write home about. I've seen Okada and Tanahashi in the ring so much. It's just, it's over. If anything, I was kind of impressed by the Acclaimed and how they worked. I thought they did a great job. I thought everybody did a good job. This was well enough performed, but it's nothing new. We start off before the match with a little video segment on how the Young Bucks have revolutionized the Forbidden Door. I thought that was Jericho that did that first. Jericho should be hailed as really him, guys like people from, long before, decades. And I get it. It's a joke. It's kind of goes into why it only adds more heat to these two heels, the Young Bucks, and makes them look even more like jackasses and assholes because, quite frankly, they haven't revolutionized jack shit. They are great performers. They in and out of the ring, and I love that music. They come out, they're rocking these Reebok robes. That's kind of revolutionary. I like that. They've definitely taken on a sponsorship in their wrestling gear, and I appreciate that. Their music, sick. And Okada comes out looking like $1 million. as always. I mean, he's the money. He was the guy for New Japan, and now they've basically tried to replace him with Sonata, who's kind of taken on that same exact role. And then you got a great rap from the Acclaimed, dropping a lot of the B word quite a bit. We get a Scissor Me Daddy Ace, okay, as in Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan. Now, currently, of course, the president of New Japan. So we get a Tanahashi, to start with Okada, but no, he tags in. There's tags, multiple tags to keep Okada and Tanahashi away until the ending, which, again, people are like, holy crap. Just, the crowd is chanting, holy crap. Like this is so, legendary. I mean, it's more like, okay, a blast from the past, kind of, okay, here we go again. This is nice to see again. But do I really need it? No. Do I really care that much? Not really. I've seen them wrestle enough. Trust me. Anyone who really cares about this has seen them wrestle enough. So Okada, Tanahashi, no big deal. Okay. Scissor Me Timbers on Young Bucks. That's one big high spot I noticed I really liked. You got a neck breaker on Caster. Matt Jackson, he steals the headphones at one point from the Acclaim. He's using them as the headphones as a little gimmick. I like that. Caster. At one point, I think he just like bites the head out of Nick Jackson. Some real wild thing. Or maybe like just smacks him in the head. We get a hot tag to Bowens. Goes to work, takes out all three opponents. Bowens lifts Matthew for a great, almost like Death Valley driver. Ace hits the flipping senton and a near fall on Okada. We get a dragon screw on Okada. Tanahashi, he applies the clover leaf, but gets stopped by the Young Bucks. Acclaim jumps in. We got a rival and a mic drop on Okada. Bucks stop Ace from hitting the splash. Tanahashi is his signature splash. He eventually goes for it, but lands right on Okada's knees. Ooh, looks sick. Bucks, they come in, they pump up their Reeboks. Super kick party to everyone. They hop over the top ropes and onto Acclaim. Okada body slams and elbow drops Tanahashi from the top rope. He flicks off the camera. Instead of doing this move where he just waves his hands in the air and you get the pan out from the camera, he gets a, big middle finger to the camera and everybody else. It was great. So, we get Tanahashi tries for a roll up. Almost gets Okada, right? Get a beautiful drop kick, textbook drop kick, and the Rainmaker from Okada on Tanahashi for the 1-2-3. It's signature stuff, just textbook academic ending. Fun match, nothing special. Daddy Ass, though, runs in to save Tanahashi from another Rainmaker, probably a few more super kicks. That was nice. They obviously have a history, Tanahashi and Billy Gunn, as they've worked. Billy Gunn worked many matches in New Japan. I remember him showing up in one of the Battle Royals. This must have been maybe Wrestle Kingdom 16 or 17. I can't remember. I was just so happy to see how good he looked still in the ring. And it's just shown, it just goes to show how beneficial of an asset he is to any company. Okay. He's great. And it's just it's endearing to see such a guy who goes way back to the Attitude Era to still be working at the level that he works. It's very pleasing to watch. We got the third match. Okay, this match, I mean, I feel like there wasn't that much of a build. There should have been. There really should have been more of a build for this. Okay. This was kind of like the follow-up to Bryan Danielson's match with Okada, which had a huge build, incredible energy, incredible feel, okay? And you go from that to Bryan and Shingo, who, again, is amazing. He's amazing, one of my favorites in New Japan. He's got a great look. He's built like a tank. He can do all kinds of stuff in the ring, all high intensity, great stuff. But there's no build whatsoever. Nobody knows who this guy is outside of those who watch New Japan. So if you don't know who he is, how could you be invested? I'm okay. I'm interested, but I'm not the average viewer right now. I'm looking at it through someone else's eyes. They're going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? And why should I care? So there should have been a lot more build. I didn't know this was really that going on until more recently. And if that's the case, that doesn't make sense. This should have been This should have been, promoted and pushed right along the time that Naito had challenged Mox. So very underwhelming. And that's kind of the match, in a lot of ways. There was some great moments, and it did kind of take it to the fourth gear towards the end. But a lot of it was underwhelming in that the presentation was not like built around really showcasing what Takagi could do. We do get one thing, though. He hits this perfect made in Japan. He held Danielson up in the air, really showed off his ability to kind of transition into that slam. It's beautiful, okay? Just as good as it ever looked. Danielson still kicks out. Brian hits the Busaiku knee kick, stomps, armbar, and that's how it ends. I could have sworn that at one point Danielson was going to lose and it was it. But again, now why does Danielson need a win over Shingo Takagi at this point? I really don't know. I don't think it was that important. If anything, Takagi should have gotten the win, and there could have been a rematch perhaps at Wrestle Kingdom. Bryan Danielson beats Takagi. There was no build for it. What does this do for Bryan Danielson? He's going up against Pac is what it does. And I'm more interested in that match because of just how well and how interesting these two are evenly matched. And I think, honestly, Pac, in all fairness, would when you put the two together and what makes sense, it would be Pac that would win. Okay, Takagi, where does he go from here? He's got the G1, and he just got a loss from Danielson. How does that help him? I think that he could have he should have earned the win. And I'm not saying that just because I'm rooting for New Japan. It's just, where does it go from here for him? Where does it go from here from Bryan? But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. Another match that I really, and that was a good match. That's one of the better matches of the night. I enjoyed it. It just didn't really, it wasn't prioritized. It wasn't prioritized. We get that one moment from Takagi's one last thing I'll say on this match, where he usually says it's Takagi time. My time is now. He says it really loud in Japanese. I've gifted at one point, like I've posted it on a loop on Instagram at one point. It's awesome. And the camera, it pans right. It really focuses in, does a close up on Takagi when he says it and points to the camera. And they didn't do that with this production. This production underwhelming as hell on what they're trying to do. So it's like they downplayed this guy's, what he offers, what he brings to the table. If you're going to do that, then why the hell are you going to even have this match? Okay. My dog is literally scratching himself on the couch. Yeah, you probably might have heard him shake. Of course, might have a noise reduction and a little bit of cleanup when we get to the editing process of this video. But yeah, Jackson, you're getting a little excited. And here he comes for some love. There you go. Okay. No more doggy love for you. Back to the video. Another match. Fourth match. Timeless Tony Storm versus This one was not really on my radar at all. This one was probably one of the least interested match. I don't know what it is about Toni Storm. She's funny. She obviously has a great look and all, but like her direction, her whole gimmick, it doesn't appeal to me. Okay. She faces Mina Shirakawa. Okay. And Toni Storm, of course, being valeted by her friend Luther, or I guess she's the mentor to Luther, if I'm not mistaken. And this woman is also best friends with Mina. This is as little as I am, invested as possibly can. I'm sorry, there's just no investment here. I'm reading reviews and people are loving it. Said this was a good match, a solid match. I thought this was a fun, okay match. With I think the ending, was even like the aftermath of the match was even more important than the actual match. More on the headbutts. They need to stop with that crap. Tara, this was one of those matches. I think I saw the headbutts and I was like, enough is enough. Stop doing it. Toni Storm, she delivers the Storm Zero for the pinfall. It's under 12 minutes. On Mina. And then it's, I guess, the valet of Toni Storm kind of encourages both of them to make up, to hug, They even have a 3-way kiss where Nigel McGuinness, one of the commentators for tonight, just clapping. That was a funny moment, just because how like serious they were taking it. I mean, Tony Storm, that is. Her entrance music sounds like that of an MGM classic movie. Okay, the old black and whites like movies of yore, where the music just takes you to another place, makes you feel good. That's great. But yeah, this match is not that. Tony Storm is not that as like. She's not as I guess what I can say is she's not as intense as she used to be, and that's the way I liked her. She was intense. She had athleticism. Now she kind of works like a heel. She kind of reminds me of she's Gorgeous George. Okay, that's all it is, and that's fine. And I know it's working clearly, but it does nothing for me. And I might be the only person in the world right now of wrestling, a fan of wrestling that does not appreciate this gimmick, and maybe probably never will. But it has its funny moments. I'll give it that. Okay. Right on to fifth match, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. I was definitely interested in this one. Okay. And what I really liked is that Orange Cassidy comes out to his old Pixies song. Okay. Where's My Mind? That song, I don't know what the hell it's called, but Where Is My Mind? Yeah, it's a good song. Good song. It always reminds me of Fight Club. I watched that on Netflix the other day. Okay. I can always stop and watch that movie. That movie's amazing. Okay. I think everybody could agree with me on that. But yeah, this was a good match. The story behind this already kind of told me that Sabre was going to win. This was going to be one of the matches that we give to New Japan. Because the whole point of the match is that Cassidy feels like he's not respected by Sabre. And the world feels like Cassidy can't wrestle. Well, I'm going to show you that I can wrestle by wrestling the most technical wrestler in the world. Well, that doesn't make sense because here's the thing. Well, I mean, that's fine if that's the story, but guess what? That means you're going to lose because you may very well keep up with the best technical wrestler in the world. You may very well be able to win at one point. You are an incredible worker, incredible wrestler, but if you're putting this guy up as the most technical wrestler, I'm talking about Zack Sabre in that right now, you're going to be, he's going to go on to be unmatched. Okay. He's going to win. It will not make sense for him to lose. And that's kind of like, this was over before it started in terms of its storytelling. So that being said, kind of a lost cause, but the match itself was fun. And I'm always impressed to see how Sabre kind of takes apart his opponent. The bell rings. Sabre, he shows his chain wrestling expertise. Get an arm drag by Cassidy. He demonstrates his abilities. Sabre takes hold of Cassidy's arms, head bridge into a choke. The technique by Sabre, always fun to watch. Cassidy reverses in his own shimmying way. He shimmies out of the hold that Sabre has. It was funny, but kind of cool the way he countered after that shimmy. Cassidy has him in a hold, but Sabre is going to reverse, take Cassidy to school. Nice transition, though, by Cassidy. The leg wrench, Sabre catches Cassidy. Cassidy is trying to prove his worth. Again, you don't need to do that with a guy like Sabre, who is unmatched, okay? Uppercut by Sabre, another. Sabre with some light kicks, then very strong kicks to the chest. He taunts Cassidy, then goes right in for the kill. He gets caught, though. Chops and kicks his way out, but gets caught with a kick to the knee. Sabre out of the ring after a dragon screwdriver. Get a suicide dive and another dragon screw outside the ring by Cassidy. Back in the ring, another dragon screw by Orange Cassidy. Front guillotine catches Orange Cassidy, but he hits that Michelin driver near fall. Cassidy goes to the top, hits that diving DDT. Very close to count. That DDT looked very sick, by the way. Big stomp by Sabre right on the wrist of Cassidy to slow things down. Catches Cassidy, then proceeds to work on the hand with the joint manipulation. Cassidy, after being slapped by Sabre, punches the hell out of the leg of Sabre. Again, cool spot. Applies the cloverleaf. Sabre then hits this big kick. You get a series of roll-ups between the two and bridges until finally a rear naked choke until another roll-up. Uppercuts by Zack Sabre. Get the mousetrap by Orange Cassidy, which is countered into Jujikatami by Sabre. Twists Cassidy up. That's when he starts to go to town, okay? And just the innovator of stretches is Sabre, and basically twists Cassie up like a pretzel. You've seen it. If you've ever watched Sabre, you've seen it before, and you know it's kind of the end. It's the beginning of the end. And of course, Cassie has no point but to give up. Can't even tap because all his limbs are tied up. And the winner is Sabre, rightly so. Okay, this ended the way it needed to end. This is the, if I am not mistaken, the first win, okay, from, I guess, the New Japan side of things, if you think about it. Okay, because Tanahashi, he lost to Okada, who's part of AEW. That's the president, by the way, okay? The president of New Japan. All right, everybody. Sorry about that little delay. I had to transition, make sure my laptop was charged. And the thing is of course, I'm still at the hotel in Wiesbaden, of course. We are going to be moving in next Monday to our new apartment. I cannot wait. I have my new studio setting up as we proceed to move in. And that should be all settled in. We should be settled in hopefully by the end of probably by the end of August, because we'll still be waiting on shipment stuff and all that good stuff. It's gonna be a process. Not worried about it, though, because we're still getting this content pushed to you. So, and I'm sorry, but this is as I was saying, this is the first match. Okay, after 4 matches, so we're already like, this is the second half of the show that we get a win from a guy in New Japan. Sorry. Make sure this is working. Oh yes, that's the fan. Good. Okay. The next match gets Mojo, Katsuyori Shibata, and Hook versus Jericho, Big Bill, and Jeff Cobb. So again, this is another kind of a, in a sense, Jericho is on the side of New Japan, as he has acquired Jeff Cobb from United Kingdom from New Japan. Shibata kind of is more so on the things of Ring of Honor. He's AEW guy, as is Joe, and Hook. Learning tree is infectious now. That wave, it's everything this guy does, everything Jericho does when he wants to evolve seems to work. Okay? Tell me if I am telling lies. It's good stuff. It's amazing. Some great spots from everybody. This was kind of a, catch Canner's wild tag match. I really loved seeing Jeff Cobb in there with Joe. Everyone got their own stuff in. But ultimately, this was Hook's match. This was a way to push Hook. And I started to see that more and more as he was kind of the one in the ring to make the hot tag. He spent the most time in the ring of anybody, of all 6 men. This is about Jericho taking the title from Hook. And this is about Hook overcoming all the odds. Got Taz, his father, on commentary. And in the end, it's Hook that does Jericho's own signature move, the Judas effect, and then followed by a pin to win the match. So it's all Hook. Okay. And then you see Taz, you get a sight of Taz clapping it up for his son. And it was just all that, a way to elevate Hook as this underdog who comes up and overcomes the odds. I did see a good reaction from the crowd. Is it there yet, though? I don't know. I mean, look, I love Hook. I think he looks great in the ring. I remember when he first debuted, I thought this guy was vicious. He still is. I think that people are not necessarily sold on Hook, but give it time, and I think he just needs a little more. He does need a match with Jericho. He might have to get that FTW title back, and I think it's time to retire it. Just for real, retire it. It ends with him until maybe he has a son, but we don't need to worry about that. Maybe until he gets the TNT title. Maybe he needs to go after Jack Perry. I think that's probably the best bet, is Hook versus Jack Perry. I've always wanted to see matches between Hook and the other 4 pillars. They all know how to complement each other really well. The match with Jack Perry was excellent last year. Maybe this year it's Hook versus Jack Perry for the TNT Championship, which we will talk about later, because yes, Jack Perry won that title. That would be for a great all-in match, a rematch from last year, where this time Hook wins and goes after and takes that TNT title from from Jack Perry, and then can retire the FTW title now that he's got his own title. That's pretty much what Taz did when he won the ECW title. He was able to kind of just retire the FTW title. So there you go. Let's take a look, though. Let's focus in on some things here. I would like to see, before we get to the 7th match, I would like to see Hook go up against guys like obviously Jack Perry, MJF, and I'm losing my train of thought here. Daniel Garcia, of course. He looks good against guys like that, of that size. He can also look really good against giants like Big Bill, if he can lift them, if he ever gets to lift them up and show them off, against a guy like Jericho, it might be time to kind of move on from that. I don't know how good he's looking against a guy like Jericho or Joe, for that matter. But yeah, I'm looking forward. I want to see him feud with Perry. That's kind of the last major feud that I saw with Hook that I was very invested in. So speaking of which, let's go to this match. 7th match, ladder match for the vacant TNT Championship. There's what can I say about this one? Okay, you got Mark Briscoe, ELP, El Phantasma. I love ELP. You got Takeshita, Konosuke Takeshita. Got Jack Perry. Yeah. You got Leo Rush. And I know I'm losing my train of thought with this one. Dante Martin. Sorry. Yeah. And everyone did a great job. This was a fun match. I was thinking it would be Jack Perry is the one that needs to win, and sure enough, he does. At one point, I know it seemed like Takeshita really did have the moment where I think the fans wanted Takeshita to win. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think Takeshita is brilliant. I think he's amazing in the ring. He's got the look too. The guy is big. He is a giant in the ring. So, and when I mean is he's not he's not small. He's not a small dude. He's built like I'm trying to think the best way. I mean, he's borderline. He's not Hulk. He's not Hulk big, but he's getting there. He's pretty much on that next level. Okay. Love to see Takeshi and Okada go toe to toe. That would be great. And we will. That's the beauty of it. This guy is headed for G1. And I can't wait. I cannot wait to see how Takeshita works with all these guys in G1. And same with the LP. You could tell they could see a lot of work between him and Takeshita. I'm sure they'll carry that into the G1. I thought Mark Briscoe did an excellent job the way he worked and kind of, lent his veteran status. I mean, that's really where he's at. He really seems like he was controlling a lot of the crazy spots in this match. Jack Perry was kind of came in from the very beginning. Everybody just stomped him out, and he was kind of remaining in the shadows throughout most of the match, and then took his spot, saw his shots, and took it. The way it kind of ends, Perry hits Mark Briscoe twice with the ladder, sets up the ladder, then hits Mark again with a few more times with the chair this time. Walks on top of Mark Briscoe's back to climb the ladder and win the TNT Championship. That was a great little moment, great visual. I think we should see. I'd like to see Mark Briscoe versus Jack Perry as the first title defense, and I could see Perry go up against a number of guys and end it with Hook. If you don't think if you don't think we have enough time, between that and now and All In. So it was cool. It was a fun match. Again, so far at this point, we're getting into the 8th match. And to me, the Sabre Cassidy match was great. I enjoyed the Shingo and Bryan match, although the kind of finish didn't make much sense to me. And I'm looking forward to the main events. Okay, the double main events. But before that, we got an 8th match, TBS title and New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship, Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer. Love Vaquer's outfit with the horns and the look. She looks great. Monet comes out to the Gunther music with the CEO chant. I don't like it. I know a lot of people that don't like it. Really annoys me. They've remixed Gunther's music when he was Walter and they've added this CEO chant. Can't stand it. Again, with the headbutts to start this off, I was not impressed. Okay. Again, it's very annoying, these headbutts. And I mean, I was kind of, zoning in and out of this match because I'm trying to get a little bit, like, pace myself for the final two matches. They're so much more important. But I am definitely happy to have seen Monet win the win the strong title back. I mean, but a lot of the fans clearly were not that invested and they weren't into it. Okay, it was almost as this was like a break match. It did end with the submission, that Monet, the crossface submission. But yeah, I wasn't like, I won't say that this one I was probably interested in a little more than the match with Toni Storm and Mina. But yeah, I mean, I was definitely getting more geared up towards Naito and Mox. I was watching it last night. I wasn't able to watch it live on Sunday because that would have been like 6 hours ahead. If it starts at 8:00, it's 2 a.m. where I'm at least, at the very least. And I'm not staying up, into the middle of the night to watch this thing. But I was able to, stay off the internet, watch the replay, and last night. But again, it's 10 matches, and I don't think we needed all this stuff. I haven't really been that invested in Mercedes Moné. One, because of that damn song. Two, I just don't think they worked her, her career. She really, I feel like, should have stayed on. I mean, it's kind of sad. They've talked about it in the show that they pretty much designed the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship for Mercedes Moné. And she did not, she did not win it or hold on to it, for that matter, like she should have. And she ended up in AEW. She was supposed to be working for New Japan. Now she's part of AEW. So I've kind of lost interest. And it's not that she's AEW and she's leaving New Japan, so now I'm butthurt. No, it's not that. It's just more like you're flip-flopping, dude. That's all it is. There's a lot of flip-floppery. So I get a little, I just get a little disinterested. That's all it is. I'm not like, hating on it, but I'd like to. One of the things, I think the most important thing that I saw after this match was the return of Britt Baker, which I was thinking the whole time, like, when is Britt Baker coming back? When is Britt Baker? I almost was this close to Googling Britt Baker, but I was like, well, what if she shows up tonight? I mean, I don't want to Google anything. I don't want to look up anything until I watch this pay-per-view. And sure enough, she shows up, and I was like, there you go. And I miss me some Britt Baker. So I'd love to see Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné. I will give it its undivided attention, and I can't wait to see that. I also I miss Saraya Paige, aka Paige. Like, again, it's like they give us this super legendary, like this super star in Saraya, and it's like she's gone before a blink of an eye. What happened? I know that you can't do anything about injuries and whatnot, but it's like you just take them complete or backstage politics or whatever the hell. I'm not in the business, so I can't tell you what's going on, the dirt sheets and the rumors. But what pisses me off is that they do that, and then it's just like, a quick switch, and it's changed it up. That does not work for the fans that are invested. I have not been invested in Monet. I've not really been invested in the women's division. I will be a little more now that Britt Baker is back. Okay, because I loved Britt Baker. And I'd like to see a few more familiar faces from the women's division. But you can't deny the women's division has gone south. And I've been focusing on WWE's women's division. I'm sorry, but Rhea Ripley is awesome. And I'm even into Liv Morgan right now. I was never into Liv Morgan with the gimmick with Dom. Okay, I'm sorry. It's good stuff. I don't care. This is great. So, Yeah, moving forward, okay, into the top two matches. These were the most important matches. Clearly, they were the double main event, and they had my attention. So I was very, very much looking forward to these matches, particularly the ninth match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Tetsuya Naito versus Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley. They start out, I mean, this just goes into a strike fest, which is going to go to Mox, obviously. Spit in the face by Naito. Agitates Mox, pisses him off. Naito ducks and dodges. Mox shows quickness. We get a knee breaker on Naito. Then he's dropped on the rope. Mox taunts a little with some mockery. Moxley slams the legs of Naito into a ring post. We get a backdrop onto the Spanish announce desk. Right hands to Naito. Red Shoes directing traffic. And at that moment, I'm knowing, okay, Red Shoes is going to play a part in this match. Okay. Which is, I don't give a damn. Okay. Both main events kind of ended with a little bit of controversy, but no like definitive cheating or anything like that. So I don't care. I just want to see that belt go back to Naito at this point, with some sort of, without too much dirty business, without too much controversy. And we then see Naito, he's been established as the underdog at this point, okay? Especially because Red Shoes is trying to tell Mox, to back off a little bit. Mox is just getting more pissed off. Fans are loving Mox, though. I mean, it's hard not to love Mox. Jon Moxley is looking better than ever in shape. He's beast. He is, I think, in a league of his own. A lot of people hate him that talk on the IWC. It just kind of blows my mind how they kind of underappreciate and undervalue Jon Moxley. This guy is the man. He's a beast. He only gets better. He's in a league of his own. At this point, he doesn't even need to be in AEW. I think he could might as well just go back to WWE. And I guarantee you, everyone in the crowd would embrace this guy and be like, please put him in a storyline. We need him. We need Jon Moxley. Moxley is like literally the third, like, Roman Reigns, was the leader of SmackDown. You got Seth Rollins, the leader of Raw, and Mox, pretty much the leader of Dynamite. And you can't tell me otherwise, because this guy led the company with that title. Every time they need him, he's just that stable guy. And he's looking like a beast. Like, he really is looking like it's really hard to believe this, which makes it a little bit, this is kind of like what annoyed me. It was a little hard to make it. They didn't really make it too believable that Naito could overcome this. Moving forward, though, we get back in the ring. We get a kick in the head of Naito. We get another spit, though, from Naito, and then a strike to Naito. And what's also annoying me is that the commentary team, like JR, who's there, and Excalibur, they're like saying, Taz, of course, like saying like, oh, the spitting is not going to make a difference. That's only going to piss him off. Okay. But Naito's whole like MO is to kind of to get you pissed off and kind of, catch you off guard. That's his whole MO. So if you're acting like confused about what Naito is doing, you're not selling him anymore. You're not promoting the match anymore. You're kind of down. You're confused. You're making the fans sound confused. You're underplaying the damn match. Okay. So that's not cool. I was not happy with that. And rarely would I say anything bad about commentating, particularly JR. JR is amazing, but and he's done amazing work in New Japan, let alone all his time in WWE and his like legendary status. Just tonight was not the night. We get a single leg Boston Crab, okay, on Naito. Pile driver on Naito. Near fall. Big chop by Mox. Some more strikes. Mox clearly in control. We get a backdrop suplex. Another near fall. Slaps from Naito. As Mox asks for more. Takes over. Back scratching Naito. Looked kind of sick, but thank God there was no blood shed. I don't think there was any bloodshed in this match. Mox headbutts Naito, but Naito slips and tosses Mox out of the ring from the top of the ring post. That looked pretty sick. I liked that. Then we get a little change of swing of things where Naito gets into control. Naito swinging the pad. Series of attacks and drop kicks. He's literally swinging this pad that he's pulled off on Mox. You hear the commentating team acting like he's a monster and trying to say, get off of him, get out of here. It's kind of just a little bit awkward, a little bit cringy. I don't know what it was, but it just didn't sit right with me. It didn't really work right with what they were trying to present. He applies the cravat, well, almost. Mox counters with a slam, a knee, a small package. Elbows to Mox by Naito. Then lifts on the turnbuckle. Mox hits a superpower bomb and a very near fall. Naito counters paradigm shift and hits the tornado DDT. Naito hits a kind of blockbuster off the top. That's the closest thing I could see from it. Looked cool. Naito hits Destino. Lifts Mox, who counters with a paradigm shift. Slugfest after they both get up. You get an insecurity by Naito, but a clothesline and a Death Rider by Naito. And it's the 2 count. This was the worst count because clearly the ref stopped before Naito actually lifted up his shoulder. You got Mox really pissed off. You got Taz pissed off. Clearly there's they're trying to play it off like the Red Shoes is in Naito's pocket when really this was just one big botch. Taz says it's a little fugazi. Red Shoes kicks. At one point, Mox brings in a chair. Red Shoes kicks the chair out. All hell is broke. At this point, it's just like the match has gone to shit. You get boots to Naito. Naito counters into something ugly. I don't even know what the hell it was. It looked terrible. You get back elbows to Mox. Head first. Suplex looked good. And Destino by Naito reclaims the title. 1, 2, 3. Naito is your new, once again, IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I don't know why the hell they took it from him. Maybe it was just set up for this match. I did it deliver. I thought it was a okay match. This is kind of frustrating. Could have been better. Maybe they're just trying to get more eyes on the 2 promotions leading into Forbidden Door. At this point, Mox doesn't even need a title, but whatever. He can go. I mean, Lord, I don't even know what to say with Mox. The whole time he was trying to promote that he's representing New Japan. He can represent both promotions. He's honored by the title, and he lost it quicker than he captured it. So I don't know where to go from there. As far as Naito is concerned, he should hold the title until Wrestle Kingdom, and Sonata wins G1 Climax, and beats Naito and reclaims his title and basically signifying himself, as the guy in New Japan, his coronation, if you will. It's Sonata is next in line as far as things are going over there. That's their guy for at least a few more years. It should be. Naito is the man right now in terms of when you think about who has came and left. Naito's their top star. Next to maybe Tanahashi. But it's Naito. Naito's their guy. It's like the leader of the whole, but he's getting kind of past, he's way past his prime. He's into his early 40s. He still can go. He looks great, but now he's just past, he's past the peak. I'm sorry to say it, as much as I don't want to say. So, we'll see what happens, but I was just happy that the belt was back on Naito. I have to go, just be happy for that. Final match, main event match for the AEW Championship. Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. My God. I'm so happy to have watched this match. This match made me pretty much it just salvaged the entire pay-per-view. Okay, $50, $49.99 for a pay-per-view. And you're thinking to yourself, was this worth it? Okay. After this match, you give it the thumbs. You feel better about the pay-per-view. Okay. And a guy like Swerve Strickland, who to me has shown time and time again that he can hold the title. He can lead the path, lead the promotion for a while. And for the last few months has not been able to really do that. He hasn't really been headlining any main events. Since he won the title against Joe, I saw that match when he did it, looked great, and was thinking, okay, it's now Swerve's time. And since then, this was April, it's now July, 4 months, and nothing has happened. And I have zoned out, I'm trying to watch multiple promotions. If you're not that good, you're not going to hold my attention. And I love Swerve. I think he was so deserving. He was, at one point, the only guy I really wanted to watch in AEW, especially after MJF left. I was like, when he was out of action, I was like, okay, this is the guy I'm focusing on right now. He seems to have it. He's got, he's got that crazy, wild, streak going. He We'll beat your ass in the ring, and he'll break into your house outside of the ring. I don't know. It was awesome. I loved it. And then you got Will Ospreay, obviously, arguably the greatest wrestler today. Everybody loves Will Ospreay. I've always liked Will Ospreay, but I've never been like super mark for Will Ospreay for some. But he is that good. Yes, he is as good as it gets, and yes, he is absolutely in the discussion for the greatest wrestler today. But off the bat, I'm thinking Don Callis' family is going to get involved. We're not going to see Ospreay take this title. We're not going to see him win this match. And I'm glad he didn't. And I'm glad that Don Callis got a little bit involved, but not too much involved. I'm glad the way it worked out. And I'm glad that Swerve Strickland still has his run going. And he's solidified himself as the guy for all elite wrestling. This should have happened a month or two ago. So he's damn well deserving, and I don't want to see him lose the title. I really don't. And there are talks about him facing Hangman Adam Page at All In. I hope to God he wins. He retains. Second year in a row in Wimbledon, we see the champion retain. I don't care. I want to see him win. But we're moving way too forward. Let's talk about this match. The bell rings. They have that stare down, big fight feel, lock up, two very uniquely different styles. So I'm just imagining they're going to have to plan this one out. They're going to have to really think as to how they're going to make this work, and they do. I was hoping and they totally did. Forearms exchanged. The way that they're able to roll through these hurricanes, that it just looked excellent. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. Within the first couple minutes, you knew this was going to be a banger, and you knew it was going to go into full throttle. They both can go. I mean, Ospreay's just capable of all kinds of maneuvers like no other, but Swerve can go. He's got the vision. He makes things look good. This is going to work. Get a big chop to Will Ospreay. Swerve sent outside, then an over-the-top crossbody by Ospreay. Textbook Ospreay. Ospreay continues the attack. Ospreay hits the drive-by kick across the apron of the ring, back in the ring. Swerve hits a series of his own, tripping Ospreay, then hits the back elbow off the top. Neck breaker by Swerve, then another, and finally one more through the ropes. I really like this. It's basically his version of the Three Amigos with neck breakers. I like it. I like it a lot. Drops the knees on Ospreay. Look good. Eventually, Ospreay fights back. Aerial assault. Swerve scouted Ospreay at low. Trips him up again. This time on the barricade. Ospreay. This was this moment. I was like, oh, God, I got to give props to Ospreay. They say it in the commentating that it was a hurricane. No, it was a Frankensteiner. Both of them standing off on the barricade, the guardrail. And Ospreay out of nowhere just hits that Frankensteiner. That is just textbook example of how good Ospreay is, to be able to just do that. Middle of the match, he's got to be a little bit, tired, and he's hitting Frankensteiners. Amazing, okay? And this is to counter Swerve's, of course, powerbomb that he was trying to do on the barricade. Again, take nothing away from Swerve. Swerve's just pulling out all the stops. In the ring, springboard flying forearm and a near fall on the champion. Back body drop by Swerve, but Ospreay right back on the attack. Big backbreaker by Swerve, slows things down. Jigatami by Swerve. Looking good. Looked good getting into it, though. Swerve taunts Ospreay with light kicks and strikes, but things get ramped up real quick. Ospreay delivers a few more strikes. Swerve fires back. Hidden blade almost hit, but the power bomb and a style slash on Swerve leads to another near fall on the champion. At this point, we are just we're in fifth gear, okay? We get a look at Daniel Garcia, who's closely looking. At one point, we get MJF. They both go on the outside, more high-risk maneuvers. You get a massive back suplex or fireman's carry. I don't know what it looked like. That's kind of what it looked like. And Swerve gets his first near fall. Back heel kick by Ospreay. Cutter dodged. And Swerve lets Ospreay hit the apron hard. He scouted that. Looked sick. Swerve up top lands the stomp on Ospreay, who was on he was kind of leaning up against the commentator table. Looks great. Okay. And this is after he had to change directions. It looked like I guess you were going to try to hit it either on the floor, on the apron. Ospreay kind of moves over to the commentating table. So Strickland just kind of has to redirect himself and hits it perfectly. Okay, he probably has the best stomp okay, in the business right now, today, okay? No offense to Finn Balor. Double stomp, that is. And we get, let's see. I'm trying to, I lost my pace because there was just, thinking about that, it was pretty cool. And the guardrail, okay, Swerve hits a pile driver on the guardrail. Again, I'm loving the way they've been using the guardrail throughout this match. That's like a highlight of this match. Back in the ring, Swerve hits the inverted sit-down suplex. Looks sick. Gets another near fall. Swerve goes up top. Ospreay trips up Swerve. Using the ropes, avalanche Oz cutter, then another Oz cutter, and a very near fall. Swerve blocks the hidden blade. Series of attacks exchanged. Swerve grabs a hold of the arm and a way too near fall. Really close near fall. Ospreay hits Stormbreaker. Looks perfect. Knees from Ospreay trying to get Swerve with that Tiger driver. Swerve counters, hits his own hidden blade. Okay, look cool. Surprised to see. Swerve goes for the stomp, misses, ducks the hidden blade, and Ospreay hits the ref. Here comes Don Callis. You know it's coming. Callis gives Will Ospreay the screwdriver, and Ospreay's like, no, I don't want to do it. And then Prince Nana attacks Callis, and Will Ospreay goes to attack Nana, and I was like, please don't. And kind of Ospreay snaps out of it. He has like a more humane sense at this moment. He's like, no, I'm not going to beat up this guy. He's not a wrestler. Goes back into the ring. Swerve kicks Ospreay. Thrust kick, kind of in the midair thrust kick. Stomp. Very, very near fall. Snaps the arm of Ospreay. Get a big kick and another near fall. He falls into Swerve and another kick. And then you get the finish for the 1, 2, 3. If I'm not mistaken, it's, what do you call that final finish? Big pressure. That's what it's called. Yes. I didn't know if it was deep pressure or big pressure. Big pressure and the JML driver. And you get a 1, 2, 3. That match right there was, possibly a contender for match of the year in terms of the big pay-per-views, possibly the match of the year candidate. It definitely is the reason why I was happy to get this pay-per-view. It was definitely a reason why I'm happy to be watching wrestling at this time. It's a great match. It's the type of stuff that we pine for when we watch wrestling. Okay, two guys that can go, deliver everything they've got, and leave nothing behind. And it's for the biggest title in the world, according to the promotion. I mean, obviously, this could have been the type of match that you would see for the IWGP title, for the WWE title, or the World Championship. It was definitely worthy of a main event heavyweight championship title match. So I was very happy. And that was your show. The show, I mean, I got to give it at least a B or a B plus. It wasn't really, it had some moments that I was just like not zoning out. And I'm sorry, and it's clear in this review that it was like, if it wasn't really worthy of my interest, then you weren't even going to get that much of a review for it, because quite frankly, there was no build, and I'm not that invested. And I got a lot of stuff going on. There's nothing. We're transitioning into a new world over here. So if I can get my wrestling reviews in, I'll do it. But this has been fun. It was fun to watch the show, and it was definitely great to see my boy Tetsuya Naito win the IWGP Championship. And right now, it's looking like I'm gearing up for the first G1 Climax show. That will probably be what I cover. I might cover like 1 or 2 more shows, just to kind of see, just for fun, just to kind of keep me there. But I'm not really that concerned about anything else going on except for G1, which will start July 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah. They got the qualifying matches that we have to kind of keep up with, and the lead-ins and all that good stuff. win one and you're in. There's like a few qualifying matches. They're trying to get a few more in. Everybody's kind of already in. A lot of people, but they have this. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. But I talked about, I think, my last video, how the G1 is working. But let's see. I want to know. Let's see. All in 2024. That's right. Sunday, August 24th. I mean, it's essentially their SummerSlam. It's around the corner, but SummerSlam will be August 3rd. So I'm looking forward to Bash Berlin. WWE Bash Berlin. That's the one I'm going to try to get out to. In Germany. So, yeah. Yes. Should be good. Should be good stuff. But anywho, it's been fun, guys. Going to try to do as much as I can. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like or subscribe button. At ChannelCortez33. Catch me on Instagram. Catch me on Twitter. Until next time, you have a wonderful, wonderful week. And talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye.